Hey, how's it going? Sorry about not being able to schedule this, but I thought that you guys might like to hear something that happened to Franny and myself today. So, it's, what day is this? It's Tuesday, right?
So,
It's Tuesday morning, December 10th? Anyway, yeah, so December 10th. So, yay, we have somebody joining us. So, we actually got a call from another vessel this morning when we were heading out. Sorry, I took it from me here.
Alright. So anyway, give you some context. We were in St. Kathy's, and then we went down the ICW on the southwest side to end up as close as we could to the ocean so we could leave. And when you leave from that area, there's a lot of shallow areas and shoals.
Tons of shoals.
Yesterday when we came in, I think we came in at close to a high tide.
Yeah.
And what we were leaving this morning is pretty much a low tide, almost dead low tide, really. So it's one of those things you have to be very careful through there. I plotted our route yesterday and made sure I actually went out of my way. So I went a little bit to the northeast and up and around and then out to the ocean because, well, here, I'll show you. You know what?
Turn around,
Yeah, let me just show you because this will make more sense. It's going to be hard to so, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That looks pretty good. Here, I'll hold this for you.
Zoom a little bit.
Right.
All right, so this is our course. So we came out here and we turned a little left-hand turn, but we worked our way through here, which was the big deal, was to work our way through here, and it was really tight through there. So let me show you what it looks like on Navionics because it's even better on Navionics. Can you see that? Yeah, that's a little weird, but okay, so this is our track coming out. So that's where we anchored for the night. It was beautiful, nice, and we tootled on out, low tide. Now, there is a possibility to go this direction. Go around here and go straight through and cut this corner here. And so yeah, so this was, we decided not to. See if this is our course up here. Now this bit here is what we're actually talking about. So, all right, so now that you kind of got an idea of what the course looks like and all that,
Continue with our story.
continue with the story.
Yeah,
So,
we definitely have a story here.
yeah, we have a story. And then, sorry, it's a little rocky out here today.
It
There's
is,
these big rollers.
Big rollers, I mean, they're far apart, but still rolling.
They're just sort of rocking the back and forth. So we're trying to stay still, but it's kind of hard.
And Franny is going to do the majority of the storytelling because I was manning the boat.
Yeah.
So-
Very well, actually. Okay, so we got out and we got back out into the ocean and we were cruising across and our buddy boat mentioned that another boat had decided to cut the corner. And this is a monohull, big one, over 50 feet. That
over like a 6-7 foot draft. Maybe even more than that.
And they touched bottom, and so they got a little nervous and they backed up. They radioed us because they could see that we were making our way out as well.
They actually called us on the Coast Guard. They
16.
They saw us on AIS, I guess.
Yeah, they knew who we were. They could see us on AIS.
Yeah.
So they called over, and I said, you know what? Let me send you my route. Right. So we kind of got together with them, got their phone numbers and such, got them into WhatsApp, and I managed to export my course so they'd have it exactly. And they backed out of the direction they were going, and then headed on out, but they were still off my course a bit. And it's tight through there. It is really tight through there. Some of those areas, I don't think there was more than 200 or 300 feet where you could have been a problem on either side.
Right.
So, unfortunately, this other boat touched. Now, both us and our buddy boat had already made it out, and we're on our way south at this point. We're heading to Brunswick today, to the marina there. That's where we're headed.
Yeah, there's a storm coming.
Storm coming, so we want to tie in.
Yeah.
Anywho, they got stuck. They got really stuck. They got jammed up, and the tide was going out still. It was almost low tide, but we still had another hour or so. And they were kind of upset and a bit frantic. And so what we ended up doing was turning our boat around, following our course back. Now, we did not go into the inlet. I told them I wasn't okay with that.
And honestly, like, to be honest, I didn't want to go and rescue them. Like, Franny and I were, a little bit, like, not sideways, but I was like, no, they need to call a towboat. This is not our job. And Franny's like, no, maritime law says that we need to help. So I'm like, it's not an accident, like, because they teach you that. If it's an accident, you're supposed to help. So I wasn't really sure about the rules, and we have ourselves, our buddy boat, our cats, and
it was the right thing to do,
it
regardless of the rules.
It was, and this is why I wanted to bring this up on a video, because you might feel the same way that I was feeling at the time, which was, and as a friend of ours said, what would I have done if I was in their shoes and somebody just said, oh yeah, just whatever, call a towboat, let you deal with it. So my reaction was not the right reaction, and so we turned around, and Franny talked to them and said that she wasn't comfortable putting our own boat in that area, and so we offered to put our dinghy, but in the meantime we'd also asked them if they had tried to call a towboat. Important thing to say, right?
Yeah, well, they did, but the tow was almost 2 hours out,
Yeah.
and the tide was going out, and they were just hoping they could bump this thing off the shoal that they got stuck on.
Right.
Not really the case. So I deployed our dinghy, and then went and picked up our friend on our buddy
One
boat.
of our buddy, the captain from the buddy boat. And,
Picked him up in the dinghy, and we hightailed it to this boat that was in distress that was
Right.
stuck. And they threw us a bow line, and the captain of that boat was in his dinghy trying to pull the stern, and we couldn't get it to budge. And it gets really dicey. So these big rollers that are out here, that's causing all this movement out here, we were up against those as well. And they were pushing us into the boat. And just behind the boat were breakers. I mean, it got really shallow, really fast. Like they were sitting on the edge of a wall. And it looked really bad.
Yeah, I didn't see any of this.
Yeah.
I was manning the boat.
So they had called the Coast Guard
Yeah.
first, and the Coast Guard said the only thing they can do if there's people in danger, then they can helicopter and lift them off the boat, and that's
Right.
not what they wanted.
No.
Then also a big fishing boat came by, and tried to help as well,
Okay.
and lifted and said they could take them off the boat as well, and they're like, no, we don't want to leave the boat here.
Right.
They did call towboat. Towboat was on the way, but we were still out there with the dinghies trying to pull the bow and the stern. And then eventually they gave us the halyard, but they gave us the bottom half of the halyard, which didn't really help very much. It was only about halfway up. So I tried, and it's amazing.
So they were at a slant at this point? Is
No,
that right?
they were rocking back and forth, which,
Okay.
as the captain mentioned, they can't be too stuck if they're rocking back and forth.
Okay.
Which that was a good sign, but I could definitely see their water line, and I could definitely see all the way around the boat it was up probably 6 or 8 inches at least from the water line.
Yeah.
So they were definitely high centered, no question. Well, the dinghy just went flying around. It just at full throttle. And there was a lot of current there too. The full throttle, the dinghy would just pull around really fast to the stern, even if I had full opposite lock on the engine, and it's yanking on the boat really hard. We did try the halyard trick. We tried that, but what happened with that was even worse, because with the halyard, he did finally disconnect it from the head of the sail, gave us the halyard all the way from the top of the mast, completed off the bottom. Great. We hooked it up to the dinghy and tried to drive out to pull the mast over, and jeepers, that one big hit from the wave, and the boat went back like this, and it yanked so hard on our dinghy that I almost lost
You did this,
our
yeah.
buddy boat captain. Almost lost him.
Yeah.
And we got a huge deluge of water come in the back of the dinghy, and the little bilge pump was going crazy. And at this point,
Didn't you lose the gas? some point?
Yeah, no, oh, and that was fun too. I didn't
Yeah.
realize it, but my gas tank, just one of those red, plastic gas tanks, had turned up on its side,
Yeah.
and it wasn't pulling any gas. And so, after a minute or two of it sitting like that, it went tunk, 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 and it died. And I turned to Corey and I said, look, I think that's it. I think we're done. So, I don't think there's anything else we can do. Towboat is on the way.
Yeah.
So I was able to get our engine running again. I just had to reprime it and get it going. And we stayed there until Towboat came by, and Towboat was able to get them off that shoal very quickly, like within 10 minutes or
I
something.
knew they.
And then they followed Towboat out and and they're on their way now. So they're doing well. They're behind us about probably an hour or so, and I think they're heading all the way. What it is
They're
to
going to be close to us.
St. Simon's, I think, is
Yeah,
where they're going to
yeah.
go for today.
So, we learned from this experience, obviously. This is why we're sharing it with you. We learned lots of things, right? The dinghy really felt very small on these big rollers.
There's a couple of problems with all of this. Is
Yeah.
that the dinghy itself just doesn't really have the mass. It's too light and too small, and 15 horsepower is not enough. I think that Towboat US probably weighs, what does it weigh? It probably weighs, I don't know, 7, 8 tons, something like that, maybe 10 tons, maybe more. I have no idea what they weigh. And I bet you they got a lot of power, well over my little 15 horsepower. They probably got 350 horsepower, 400,
Yeah.
450, something like that.
Right.
So they have some they can affect a real change. They got some physics. I didn't have any physics. And so that was the problem. Was I just got yanked and thrown around by the boat lurching left and right. So it was
It would not have been
was
good
scary.
if you guys got it.
Yeah, it was
That
getting
wasn't-
to the point where we were
Yeah,
either going
like-
to break our boat or us.
Yeah.
And like one time, when the boat got yanked backwards so hard, the captain from our buddy boat who was with me, he ended up on my lap. He just went flying backwards, and he was holding on. So it wasn't like he wasn't holding on. And then we were trying to keep the line from not getting tangled around the prop and the dinghy, and man. So it was a shite show for sure, and I didn't want to be part of the pooey bit. I didn't want the pooey bit. So we just stayed out there. We talked to the owner and the captain, and we chatted with him a bit, waiting for Towboat. And then when Towboat showed up, then we split and got back on our way. So we're an hour or so later than we'd hoped to be. We're pushing the engines kind of hard to make up for the time, but
We're
because
2 hours.
it's just 3:15.
Yeah.
So it says we're going to get in sometime around 3:30 probably.
It's fine. The marina's up till 5.
Yeah, the marina's up
So,
until 5. We always
fine.
worry about light and all that.
We're
But
going to a new place, which we haven't been there
Yeah.
before. So,
totally. So it was a little bit harrowing at some point.
right.
And then driving the dinghy around out here in the Atlantic Ocean is also exciting as well.
Yeah, and I wanted it, while this is fresh in my mind, because this has happened to me too. We've had to call the Coast Guard, and a lot of times just being on the phone with the Coast Guard can kind of get you flustered, at least do that to me. One of the things that they obviously, will ask you is what's your GPS location. I just recently got a watch, which actually I can like hit it and get the actual GPS location. We also have it on our navigation instruments, but it's one of the first things that the Coast Guard's going to ask you. Is where are you? Because obviously they want to know where to go if they are going to send somebody to help you. But the other thing that happened is that, and I didn't know this, we were in the process of already helping this other vessel. They went ahead and got on with the Coast Guard and put out a Mayday call. And their boat wasn't, I didn't,
Mayday is
Mayday
only
is like-
when there is a person
person's life is in
life is
life
danger.
and death
Yeah,
situation.
that's
So,
pretty much what a Mayday is for.
just want to bring that up because it's really important to be familiar with the 3 different, you know, the Security
Yeah.
and Mayday calls for the Coast Guard. And so I radioed back and said you might want to at least give them like a pin and let them know that if you guys are okay. Because, you know, the Coast Guard might get confused. So they do have to report back anyway. Like once the Coast Guard's involved, they want to know the outcome. So, which they did. I mean, they told them once they got rescued.
Yep.
In the tow road. So it just, I don't know. I mean, that's one of the things that I was like, okay, GPS location. Make sure you call the Coast Guard and tell them exactly the right kind of call.
Yeah.
For
If you're on
anything
the
else
radio,
that said,
for
you
sure.
know,
Yeah.
there were some other things that you.
Well, there were some other problems with their radio and our radio as well. The volume was turned down on our radio, and I'm not super certain this stupid radio is working that well.
I haven't heard it in a while, which I think our radio cuts out like after a few hours.
Yeah, it seems like it's fine in the morning, and then later on in the afternoon, it's
like
not.
It's up and
Yeah,
stops
our
working.
AIS does the same thing, and it's
So-
confusing and upsetting. So,
Obviously, the internet's working though. If you guys can see us and hear us right now.
but we did have. Let me see if we're right now. Oh, there it is. Okay, so we do have this guy, which is our handheld.
Yeah.
And the volume was turned all the way down. So, and I had to step out on deck actually to get a decent signal with it. There's enough metal. Do you see all this metal that's around here on this cage? This thing. I
Yeah.
wonder if that had something to do with and I think the actual roof of this thing is also metal. And that's certainly metal. I know that it is.
That'd be something.
So that might be reducing our range of the handheld a little bit. This little guy here.
Yeah.
So that's why stepping out on deck worked great. But they had a problem as well. So
Right.
they had a handheld on deck, but she had to go down below and use the radio down below. And then she was clear as a bell.
Right.
And so I was talking to her, and
But then she wasn't in earshot or headsets weren't working or something, right? Yeah.
well, that's the thing. And you know what? In some ways, they had Starlink, we have Starlink. In some ways, I think communication needs to update a bit. So we switched over to WhatsApp. And
Yeah.
I could actually send them my course and everything. It was I found it a much more effective way to communicate. And we called
Right.
them as well
Yeah,
through WhatsApp.
Right.
So you don't need
Yeah.
cell service if you've got internet, and they did.
Thankfully.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's a bit of
Do you
trying
guys
to
have
think on
any
your
questions
feet
though?
a little bit, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was a bit harrowing,
Right.
honestly. Getting the dinghy deployed in these types of conditions with the boat moving around, and then retrieving the dinghy as well, getting it back up on the platform.
Yeah.
Luckily, I've done that so many times, I know exactly where it needs to be, and I have the controller, the remote in one hand, raising the thing, and
Right.
I'm holding the dinghy, with the other, and keep the dinghy sorted until it gets locked into the platform, and then up it goes, and that's great. So it wasn't what I expected when I got up this morning, for sure.
No. It was definitely a different day. than
Oh,
we
but what I do want to say is that,
I want to just make sure that nobody's passing it.
okay, we'll check on that, and then it doesn't look like it. So, okay. So what I do want to say is that for both us and our buddy boat, it's absolutely critical that the first mate that you leave behind knows how to operate the boat in an emergency and can move the boat. So we were a little bit further away from our buddy boat. They were taking a little bit further out course than we were. And there was a bit of distance. So when I got in the dinghy and went and picked up our friend on the boat, I had to dinghy out in the opposite direction a ways, pick him up and then go all the way back.
Right.
And so I asked Heidi, can you do me a favor and just put the boat a little closer to them?
Yeah.
Just closer, not too close, but closer. And that way it'll cut down dramatically on the time from you getting to and from. And she did. She put the boat exactly where it needed to be, and that was great. So, and I know that
I can operate the boat
the
when I
same
have
thing.
to.
So yeah, it's really important
Yeah.
that both people can operate the boat by themselves. Really, you don't have to sail the thing.
Yeah,
Just-
Franny could get hurt at any time.
Yeah,
and
just fire up the engines and do
autopilot
something.
might die.
Yeah,
and
all that
sorts
sort of
of
stuff.
So, yeah,
So-
I mean, yeah, we could.
Yeah, it's really important that both
Autopilot's
people can
handle
operate the boat.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
it's a safety issue. I mean, I
Right.
don't know what else to say. It's just a safety issue.
Right.
So, anywho,
yeah. Well, we just wanted to
Yeah.
fill you guys in. I'll let you know where we're at. We are gonna kind of chill for a few days in Brunswick and check it out.
Yep.
Wait out the storm, and then we'll be heading farther south after that, maybe to the island with the horses, Cumberland Island.
Oh yeah, Cumberland.
Yeah, we go there.
Cumberland, and then on to Fernandina Beach,
Amelia Island.
Amelia Island, and probably down to St. Augustine.
Augustine.
And
Yeah.
then if we can get to the Cape, I'd love to put in at the Cape for a day or two.
We want to catch up with Matt's and Ava.
Yeah, so see, I didn't think Ava's there, but
Maybe
we'll
Ava's
certainly
not
come
there,
see
yeah.
Mads and see the progress on their new, there will be brand new catamaran when they get done with it,
Yeah.
for sure.
And if you haven't checked out their channel, it's called Sail Life.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
yeah, they
Amazing work.
yeah,
Yeah,
they have
really
a big process in front of them.
Yeah, they bought a, back in the
Antares.
day it was called a PDQ, and now it was sold, now it's called an Antares.
Yeah.
It's basically the same boat though. And they haven't changed the Antares, like hardly at all. A couple
Right.
of little options here and there, but basically the same boat since the PDQ. So they found one that was hurricane damaged and pretty well trashed. The guy was trying to fix it up and blah blah blah. They bought it, and it's getting the Mads, special treatment.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really amazing when they get done.
Oh,
so
I'm sure will.
yeah, I'm really looking forward. I hope we get to see it.
Yep.
It's really something. So, and then from there, probably to Fort Pierce to Palm Beach. And in Palm Beach, I'd love to be able to spend a couple of days in Lauderdale if we can find a place cheaper.
Yeah.
Some places like, all the docks are gold plated or something. I don't know. It's very, very
We
expensive.
have
there.
friends there. Like, we want to have dinner with them.
Yeah.
We used to live there, so it would be nice. Yeah,
Yep.
Palm Beach. All
And
right.
then there's a nice anchorage south of Miami that
Right.
we'll probably check out by Fisher Island.
Yeah.
And then from there, we'll end up in Biscayne Bay and then over to Bahamas.
So lots more live streams for you
yeah,
guys.
yeah, lots of movement. We're getting lots of experience for sure.
Yep, and we've got a lot of really cool videos coming up too.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We got a lot of stuff coming up.
Right.
I think we're going to start
A whole
into
electrical
the
project,
electrical project.
solar and
very shortly.
electrical, but
Yeah.
yeah, we have one more video before then, and then that's it. We're going to
Is
be
it?
on
Okay.
to some projects. So
Yeah.
with project videos, it's not going to end with just one episode. Like it'll be, going on and on and on.
Yeah, we'll probably put a few of them on there. So,
You need to get a captain's license.
oh,
Or
that's
did
a
you?
great question. You're not required to do anything with a boat. Funny. You'd think you need a
Some insurances require a certain number of hours and sign
insurance,
off.
but there's no requirement for operating a boat. And so it's kind of a funny thing, you need a license to drive a car and you need a license to catch fish,
That is not true in Florida. Though.
but you don't need a license to operate a boat.
You are supposed to in Florida. State of Florida.
No.
Yes, you are.
So I don't know of
Yeah.
any license in Florida that you need in order to operate a boat. I don't think there is. So
Somebody
Anyway.
said, who said, God.
yeah, so anyone can just get behind the wheel of one of these
Yeah.
things and run it into a beach. I mean, there's nothing like that. We should need a license for sure. We should have the state sign off,
Hi.
but they don't. There's a lot of
Maybe
regulations
it's
I
for
think that they need.
rentals.
But,
Maybe that's what I'm thinking. In order to rent a boat,
oh, in order to rent a boat, yeah,
you
you
have
have to
some
show that
safety
you.
course.
Yeah, and you
Yeah,
have
so
to
maybe
show
that's
you're
what I'm
captain.
thinking of. Yeah.
But you have your own boat, you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
And that's costing no
and
problems.
we've already
For
had,
sure.
we've had that. We've had, a week-long training. So we've had a lot of training. Whether or not everybody else does is a different story. But yeah,
We've had a bunch of training, but you really can't beat these sorts of experiences being out here and actually doing it. That's where you really learn. And I know it's tough, and everybody kind of is the thought that you need to learn everything you need to know before you go. And the truth is, you can't. You'll never be able to learn everything before you go. It's really more important to be able to think on your feet and to make decisions in weird circumstances, and just kind of do it. And you just continually gather more and more experience, and that's what we're trying to do. So it's been interesting for sure. I mean,
we
for
learn all the
instance,
time. We learn all the time.
we had to deploy the dinghy, right? So I can't be dinking around not knowing how to deploy the dinghy, how to operate the dinghy, how to do any of that stuff. Oh, I can't remember. You can't.
That would be me, actually.
You have to be current.
I've
in
only
that.
kind of done it like one time, so I need to learn more about it.
Yeah, and I mean, when the gas can turned, or the gas tank turned on its side, and we're out floating around,
Yeah.
what are you going to do then? You can't ask the people who were trying to help because they've got bigger problems. So what are you going to paddle back? How are you going to, I mean, you got to figure these things out. So you just have to think on your feet. And it's one of the big reasons why, for me, that I wanted to do this in the first place was to force myself to think on my feet. And otherwise my brain will just turn to gelatinous goo, pretty certain.
Yeah, sailing can be stressful at times. There's no denying that. I mean, you're involved in a large piece of machinery, just like an automobile, just like an airplane.
Yep.
And it can be very stressful, especially if you're not comfortable. And Franny mentions that she could leave me with the boat, but there are times when I'm not that comfortable manning the boat. And practice makes you feel more comfortable. So
Yep.
when you sit on a dock for a long time, you lose your comfort, for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, once you get
now
back out
everything's scary and everything's
Yeah.
a heightened, and then you can become a hot mess quickly as well. So, so it's just what it is, right? And getting the anchor up in the morning seems like a pretty simple thing to do, but that can turn into a mess and
Yeah.
all sorts of things. So,
Another thing I think that we learned is that I think that the other vessel, just knowing that we were nearby, maybe helped calm them a bit. So even if you can't render assistance, just having Franny and the other captain waiting, there's a dolphin in my head, waiting for them, Tova with them, may probably help reduce their anxiety.
I think so.
And
Certainly
that's
did.
really helpful in that situation.
Yeah.
And there's some dolphins. I don't know if you want to turn it around and show some dolphins.
Here, I'll hand this to you.
All right,
And
as
you
a
can
man.
close out our.
Yeah, we just want to tell you about that, but I will close things out with showing you the dolphins out here if I can still find them.
Give people a little tour of what it looks like.
Yeah.
A little gray.
There was some dolphins straight out here. They were right out here somewhere, but now I'm not seeing them. Anyway, so this is what it looks like outside. It is definitely a little bit gray out. We have a storm coming, but now I don't see the dolphins anymore. Shoot, I don't see them down below either. Those are the dolphin seats right there. But yeah, you can see over there. You can see that there's no. Let's see. Floor requirements for boat safety course with all safety. I can't read the rest of that. Hold on a second. Somebody says. Florida requires a boat safety course with all safety equipment, but if you have a paying customer's absence, licenses needed. Yeah, that would make sense. And do we still have all of our classic cars? We have most of our classic cars, not all of them. We sold one. I'm going to get back though. Okay.
Right.
The water looks calm, is it? It's actually not calm.
It's pretty calm. It's just the big rollers out here, which they're really hard to see out here. But it's just
very
the
rolly
boat
on our boat right now.
all over the
Like,
place.
look at Franny's.
Yeah.
Franny's definitely like rolling.
all over the place. So they're
So-
probably like 3 to 4 feet
They're just not breaking. You're not seeing them
No.
break right
on
now.
a really long period.
Really long
You
period.
can kind of see them if you look that way. You can definitely see them going away from us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Did you see it? Show that?
Yeah.
So, here, let me see. All right,
Yeah.
so
It's
let's
just
see if we can get
a
a.
long period, but yeah, they're big. They're probably 2 to 3 feet right
I
now.
know that looks like that's nothing, huh? And you're looking at it, it doesn't look like much. But when they hit the side of the boat, it just rocks the crap out of the boat.
Yeah.
So you kind of see them. I mean, they're coming in sets. So,
Yeah. I would say they're about 3 feet.
yeah. So I mean, it could be much, much worse for sure. Because
Oh yeah, this is nothing.
yeah, they can if they're short period waves, then they'll drop you, and the boat will slam.
Yeah.
We're not slamming at all. We're just rolling back and forth. But there, you can kind of see that. See that wave? That one? That's kind of what they look like. And they're just big. They're just long, go on forever. So, all right. Well, I realized I forgot I didn't have my life jacket on because I had to go downstairs and change. All right. Well, I hope everybody's having a great day. Have a great rest of the day.
Yeah.
And we're going to be in Brunswick this afternoon and evening, and then cold tomorrow, which is Wednesday. It's supposed to be like out here. It's supposed to be absolutely crazy, like on the gale force winds and 20-foot waves and yikes,
Yeah,
right? So yeah, less fun than I signed up for. So
we have another, looks like about another 3 hours till we're at our destination.
yeah, something like that. So shouldn't be too bad. We'll just tie up there for a couple of days, and I think that's it. So, all right. Well,
Thanks
have
for
a great
tuning in
afternoon.
on
Thanks
such
for,
short notice.
yeah,
We really
absolutely.
appreciate it.
So,
Yeah.
everybody have a great day, and we will see you on the next one.
Yep.
Safe travels.
Bye.